I would like to talk to you about the fuckery that is my English class again. And then my final exam grade, I got an 89. I turned in all of this, like, here's a paper that I had to rewrite because she didn't tell us that we needed to save the papers. That's my cell phone. Here's a paper about gay marriage rights. Here's a paper, well, it's not really paper, it's more like journal entries about crap. Here's a PowerPoint presentation. Here's a PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, great. That's my portfolio. She said that if I turn these into like my bosses when I apply for work, that they'll really love it. No, they won't. Because I'm telling you right now, I bullshitted half of these papers. More than half of them. I bullshitted them all. If you write about your feelings in most of them, she gives you like an A. But, I mean, she didn't even give us a grading rubric to, friggin' talk about, or whatever. Like, that's what I talked to the dean about today. Like, she was like, did she give you a grading rubric? And I was like, a what? And she was like, a grading rubric? And we were like, what's that? But anyways, I would like to read to you the paper that I wrote for my class. This year started off a little rocky. You did not show up the first class, and the second class you were 30 minutes late. At the beginning, I did not think I would ever start to fulfill my English 111 prerequisite. I learned that if I had not decided to find you, we probably would not have started on the first week. And I learned everything in the syllabus, along with a few other miscellaneous things. I learned I had to take this course. I have attended a certain university. My majors were biology and computer science, neither of which required taking an English course. I've always hated English, so I thought I got to skip it. And then I came here, and just by luck, I had to take English. I placed into honors, so I thought I could just skip English, considering I aced the placement tests. I never wanted to take an English course. I know, it's pretty repetitive, but whatever. I learned that I did not have to take a college composition course with a writing workshop, because I'm better than that. Having taken courses at the university that required me actually analyzing a book in a 7 to 10 page paper made me a better writer. When I have to do a paper on something that I don't feel any sort of feelings toward, I write better. Taking International Short Fiction Stories by Women was the best course I could have taken that required knowledge on how to write papers and analyze fiction. Taking this class, however, led to confusion. Oh, wait. For most of the directions on how to write or present, I understood, but there were other times where I was up a creek without a paddle. For example, this paper. Was I supposed to do a PowerPoint with this essay? I don't have a clue, and neither do most of the students I've talked to. This is the 21st century, and when one of us emails you, you have 3 others waiting on a response. Excuse me, I don't know why. Which seems to take years to get. At times it seemed as though you would make up directions on the spot, which led then to mass confusion in the classroom. This being my first course here, I learned a bunch about the policies. I learned that the school stays open whenever I have class with inclement weather. Although I did not know where we would meet in the event of evacuation, I guess it's a good thing we never had one. My old university had honesty policy too, except theirs is called the Honor Code. So I pretty much knew that one. I like how our classroom did not have windows, so in the event of a tornado, we would be safe from the glass shards slicing through our flesh like a knife to butter. After a while, I caught on to your teaching methods. I noticed you didn't quiz us on any of the material we went over in the book. I also noticed that the material you discussed from the book were all in bold, italicized, the first sentence after a title, or with a picture outline, so highlighting was already done for me. If I happened to miss reading a chapter, it was okay, since we just go over it in class. My crisis would always be averted. Journal entries were sporadic. You never knew which day they would be on. I decided to attend every class. Although, some more confusion comes up, because in class journals were 3 to 5 sentences, and now I'm not sure if they're supposed to be 5 or more. I learned to stick with my gut when it comes to making hasty decisions on whether or not to go one way or another with your directions. I also learned that if I happened to miss the title of a reading from the book, I could just scan along and see which one was about African Americans. I learned how to cite books in class. When we went to the library, I learned how to cite the Bible. I always thought if I simply put in the Bible, someone said this. That would be all the citation I needed. Now I know that you have to state whether the certain Bible produced was, the year of production, and all that jazz. I was really confused when you took points off my research paper when I did not put page numbers in for my in-paper citations for red pages, but I emailed you about it. I'm still not sure as to whether or not you took points off for not having those page numbers, because if you did, then my research paper grade should be improved. I learned that 1 day and a half is not enough time to do a proper oral presentation. Having taken a public speaking course, as well as attended a few seminars about public speaking, I feel as though I am excellent at giving speeches. When students have other classes, jobs, sick family members, or a hectic week, a day and a half does not suffice when doing a group presentation. I can usually get up in front of a class, know a few key points, and do great on a presentation by myself. Having to rehearse with a new person every time, it's not difficult. It is not having enough time to do so that's difficult. Oral presentations are meant to be rehearsed before presenting. Not having enough time to meet, and the fact that my grade is based off another person's presentation, was frustrating. I wonder if we started class when we were supposed to, would we have been allotted more time for presentation and research papers? I learned everything in the chapters. Reading the chapters assigned out of class just was not enough. We really needed to get into the chapters and analyze the specific themes. For example, I learned everything in the illustration chapter, or chapter 12. I relearned personification, simile, metaphor, alliteration, irony, and more, because all those were taught to me in the 6th grade, and have been added to every instructor's teaching since then. I learned that writing a research paper in the 11th grade was no use to me now. I've received more time writing the research paper that was required for me to graduate to the 12th grade than I did now. My English teacher told us where we should be at and when writing that paper, and gave specific guidelines. Almost everyone passed that paper. The only students who did not were the ones who never showed up. I learned that there should be more detailed guidelines when writing a research paper.